Hello guys, my name is Anna and I vlog daily from Ukraine since the start of brutal Russian invasion. And today I am in the heart of Ukraine, Kyiv. Kyiv is a special place where you can meet any celebrity you wish.
Is this where I park my car?
Please take a seat. Guys, I'm really happy to meet Operator Starsky on the channel, and I am sure everybody knows him. Andrei, how are you?
Not bad, not bad. How are you?
Thank you, I'm fine, and I'm super excited to have met you finally in Kyiv.
Welcome to Kyiv.
Thank you so much. It's safe to be in Kyiv now, especially in your presence. Andrei, how do you...
I wouldn't be so optimistic though.
Those Western Ukrainian people. Andrei, how do you feel in general about Ukrainian counteroffensive and things that are waiting for us in future?
I'm optimistic here. Basically, my guys are there. Several of my battalions of my brigade are there at this point. If people want to know if Ukrainian counteroffensive fails, it doesn't.
Ukraine never fails.
Yeah.
We don't have this option.
Yeah, we already heard that like several times in the future. In the beginning, like remember, Ukraine was gonna fall in like 3 days. Was it Simonyan who said that they will take Kyiv in 2 days? Ukrainian air defense will be destroyed and we will all die. Sorry, didn't happen.
Luckily, and never will.
Yeah, but as for our future, one of the reasons why we will never fail is because we have such a great support from people around the world. Beautiful people, brave people who support Ukraine. Different countries that we don't even mention a lot, you know. But they're doing a great job, and as for the future, I think that we will be victorious 100%. In my brigade, nobody doubts that, absolutely.
One of the questions that I like asking people is, how do you see Ukrainian victory? Because it's very important to visualize something that we want to achieve and we will achieve. What's this victory for you personally?
There are two answers to this question. Short answer is Ukrainian victory happens after we take all Russian positions and eliminate all Russian personnel on the territory of Ukraine and make sure they will never attack again. Which leads us to another question, which is more sort of advanced or complicated, because in order to make sure Russia never attacks us, Russians must be denazified or derussified.
Demilitarized, exactly what they wanted to do to us.
Deterrorized, basically, and they must be stripped of nuclear weapons and preferably all weapons completely, and they must change their mindset. And this is unfortunately very hard to achieve because Russians were turned into what they are in centuries. It took centuries to raise generations of obedient zombies that would just do whatever they are told to do by their Tsar and be what they are, which is basically Russian terrorists and Russian fascists.
You are right, and thank you so much for reminding that actually war with Russia lasts not just like for a year and a half or for 8 or 9 years, but perhaps for centuries. And those countries who were unlucky and are unlucky to border Russia understand us perfectly.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They feel like no sentiments with Russia possible, no negotiations and no agreements at all. But I believe that for like complete Ukrainian victory, Russia, I personally believe, must collapse. I see like the best version of this future in many new countries appearing on the territory of Moscow Empire, and many of these countries can actually be dynamic, democratic, and surprise the world. But global politicians are afraid to talk about that. what do you think about the future of Russia? How would you like to see it in 10 years, 50 years?
Global politicians were afraid of collapse of the Soviet Union. Remember that glorious speech of President Bush in Kyiv. Please don't leave Soviet Union, it's so good. So I think people should just realize that you don't negotiate with terrorists, you don't reason with terrorists. Terrorists must be eliminated. As for the future of Russia, again, there are two answers to this question, because my personal opinion, I cannot find enough facts to give about the future of Russia, like literally.
No Russia at all.
I would be satisfied with this beautiful northern ocean starting like immediately north from Chernihiv Oblast.
Or series of swamps.
Swamps, yeah, back to the roots. But as for more complex answer, I think nothing changes much to Russian people even after collapse of the terrorist federation, because what do Russian people have now? They have nothing. They live in poverty. They were so impressed when they invaded Bucha and saw for the first time how ordinary Ukrainians live, the conditions that we have, the environment. Basically, Russia is a very, very rich country, but Russian people don't control anything. There are countries that benefit from trading oil and gas, like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and such countries, because they share their wealth with people, with their citizens. In Russia, there's no such thing, because all the wealth goes into, it fills the pocket of several Russian oligarchs and mafiosi, Putin himself, of course. Russians live in poverty as a result. There was one great idea that I heard from one of the Russian oppositioners. Sometimes you have to listen to them as well.
That's a difficult task for ears.
I agree. In rare cases, though, sometimes, like once in a century, they say normal things. And this oppositioner said that Ukraine, as reparations from Russia, Ukraine can take control over their gas and oil sources. And I think it's a beautiful idea, because we can use this wealth to rebuild our country, to produce more defensive weaponry, to implement reforms in Ukraine and do a lot of useful things. Also become good partners with leading countries, help other countries that need help, because currently Ukraine is a developing country. A lot of countries of G7, for example, help Ukraine. Ukraine can help other countries as well if we are strong enough, and I believe that this is one of our missions, actually. But if Ukraine controls Russian oil and gas sources, again, nothing changes much to Russian people. They will not feel the difference. Though they will probably have opportunity to live in a more democratic country if they put some effort into it, and if they decide to, evolve and elect democratic government and become better people that will not be just, lying down on the beaches of Hugarda, or drowning there, eaten by sharks.
That's to thank the shark.
yeah. But they will be normal people, that can have good relations with their neighbors, that can respect their neighbors, which is very important.
Like in a couple of centuries, you mean? Because I cannot imagine Russians respecting others.
Russia and respect is like two terms that eliminate themselves. I completely agree on that. As for the shark, by the way, the day I revealed the tattoo, I received a commentary from one of my viewers who said, it's a very cruel tattoo because this poor Russian boy, while drowning, he was calling his father, he was screaming, Papa, Papa, while shark was devouring him. I'm like, what the hell? He was not screaming, Papa, Papa, he was screaming, you know, that like in best case. But people have this fake belief into like, you know, good conscious Russian people. I know such people, all of them, like 100% of those people are serving in the armed forces of Ukraine with patches of...
Learning our experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically that's it.
I remember when this fake or not fake, you will never understand, all Russia is fake, coup started. I had so many comments telling me that, oh my God, soon you will have nothing to vlog about. You have to switch to Discover Ukraine or some cuisine or I don't know, what's in my bag, you know, stuff. And I felt like, oh my God, guys, no, it's not gonna happen. But maybe it's not the end and some conflicts and chaos will continue growing in Russia. But do you believe that anything worthy can come out from inside Russian society in that desire to change something, or does it have to come from outside? Some leave me comments, you have to liberate Russia after you liberate Ukraine.
Oh,
you know?
really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Are you ready?
Feed them, wipe their mouths and their asses. Holy shit, people are ridiculous sometimes. If you want to live in a strong country, in a democratic society, you have to sacrifice something for it. Sometimes you have to die. Sometimes you have to bury your friends. I lost a lot of friends during the Revolution of Dignity, but after that we achieved dignity and people sacrificed themselves. We have celestial 100 of people who died while storming the armed police, and they were shot by snipers. We were not begging like America or France or Japan,
Aliens.
Martians to come save us. No, we did it ourselves, and I think it's a great achievement of our people. There will be no magical Ukrainians who will come to Russia and help them become good people. No, you gotta freaking work on it. You gotta contribute something to this. That's my opinion. But I don't believe that something will change from within. Maybe like from the top within. But I don't know if there are some worth people among Russian management, Russian elites. On the other hand, usually this is how it happens, because if we remember all the Russian uprisings, revolutions, even despite there were uprisings among like common people, ordinary people, hungry uprisings, but usually changes were made within the elites.
Yeah, it's so bad to use this word elites with Russians. We have to invent another word like supreme orcs or something.
Warlords, gang lords, I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you so much. But there is one word that often comes in the context of this Russian war in Ukraine. When it all began, I was like super up. Well, when I realized that we're not giving up and that the nation is so united as never before, I felt optimistic and I thought like a week, 2 weeks, like a month, and we will celebrate victory and the world has seen the true face of Russia. Now everything is like understandable. Now, after a year and almost a half of this war, we realize it's not going to finish tomorrow or in a week. And many people speak about fatigue, right? Both inside Ukraine and outside, from our allies who are waiting for something. And tell me, please, are you tired on this like personal level and also on the level of like Ukrainian, a person of the Ukrainian armed forces, and what to do with this invisible enemy? Or maybe it's just like a fake narrative that is not true.
In the army, if you're tired, you die.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's related to the rest of Ukrainians, because if we are tired, we're doomed. We will die. There are very different reasons why Russians fight and why Ukrainians fight. Russians fight because they want to kill. They want to eliminate Ukrainian nation. They want to eliminate Ukrainian identity. That is the only reason why they're fighting, because as Putin said, Ukraine never existed, and people who...
But Ukrainian people do not let us.
But it's like, you know, people who believe in a bullshit about like biolabs and fighting ducks and stuff like that. Yeah, they gotta review that moment, that cringy moment when Putin was shown this map, and even though there were words saying Ukraine, land of Cossacks, the dude obviously forgot Latin.
Look here.
Yeah, Latin letters because he's old and useless. But they must remember that Russians only fight in Ukraine because they hate Ukrainian people, and they want to erase everything that reminds them of Ukrainian as a separate nation. That's all. And they are fighting because they want to kill. Ukrainians are fighting because we want to leave. And because we want to leave, and we want our children to leave, we want our nation to be alive in the future. Those are two very, very different reasons. Fighting for killing is not really important. You know, it's not as important as fighting for survival. That's why we will never give up, and we will keep fighting until the Russians probably decide that, you know, we lost so many men that probably we should like move out or something like that.
Like 100 million is enough.
Yeah, 100 million.
Okay, two questions. Is there anything you are afraid of and you can share with people? What are you afraid of in this context?
Spiders. I don't know why I have so many spiders like in my place. I don't know where they are coming from.
Maybe you're Spider-Man and you don't know it. It's just the beginning.
I doubt that, but I hate spiders, even though they're beautiful. One time, I wanted to buy like this huge tarantula that, you know, it's horrifying because like, you know, tarantulas.
When Russians come to loot your apartment and they see it.
So I wanted to buy one in order to, you know, to combat my arachnophobia a bit. But then after a while I decided that it's not really cool because, you know, it just sits there for like a month.
Not like a dog, you know.
Exactly. That's why I chose ants. Other than that, I don't know. I'm afraid that McDonald's gonna close in Ukraine.
Oh yeah. Like Zara did.
Oh man,
sorry.
that
I'm a girl.
That will be a disaster.
Okay, and another better question. What are you most proud of these days in these challenging times? I'm
most proud of my people. And the reason for that is my people are evolving, you know. Before the Revolution of Dignity, I was highly disappointed in Ukrainians. I considered moving out of Ukraine, but as soon as the revolution started and I saw those decent people who cared, you know, for real, it's when you enter this territory of Maidan and volunteers rush towards you with like hot beverage because they know that you're cold and stuff and you want to eat or something. And people who cared, that changed me a lot. And same with what happened after the annexation of Crimea and the invasion to Donbass. My people evolve and they're learning how to be democratic and free, and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I often tell people that our civil society is actually the best guarantee that you can invest in Ukraine, that you can trust Ukraine, because if our politicians or other things are wrong or happening, doing something wrong, we will take control of that. Sooner or later, we will react.
Your viewers must know that Ukraine is the place where anarchy was basically born and existed as working political system.
And through history.
Yeah, and eventually it evolved into what we have, what is known as Rada in Ukraine. It's a different topic. Yeah. But another thing is, Ukrainians generally don't like authorities. We don't recognize, like chiefs, rulers. We understand that we need them.
We challenge them.
But as soon as they do some, crazy stuff, oh my God, they are afraid of Ukrainian people so much. And I think this is how democracy should work for real, because people decide what's better.
Okay, this is actually my first ever experience of the interview, and let me know in your comments how do you feel about that. I'm so happy that Andrei agreed to be a part of this interview because I feel like safe and inspired, and I'm sure that we share the majority of our viewers and supporters. Is there anything you would like to tell our viewers in general?
Generally, I would like to say, guys, you are awesome, you are amazing. Thank you so much for subscribing to Anna's channel, because Anna tells a lot of things about Ukraine that people around the world don't know. And those new series that she started discovering Ukraine, it's very important because there's a lot of, stories, a lot of things to show around, and movies, music, whatever. People around the world are not acquainted with it because I blame bad marketing that we had for decades in Ukraine. But if you want to learn more about Ukraine, absolutely follow Anna from Ukraine, and you will not be disappointed. And also I would like to say thank you for supporting my people. Thank you for supporting Ukrainian defenders. We appreciate it.
Well, Operator Starsky is a superstar of Ukrainian and not just Ukrainian YouTube, and I'm really grateful for everything that you do, both in the informational sphere and not in the informational sphere, being a part of Ukrainian military people who are actually holding like the sky and making this interview and everything around possible. And I hope that one day, really soon, we will celebrate Ukrainian victory. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Operator Starsky, Anna from Ukraine, and all the beautiful people who speak about our country, because we still need your support. Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!